or to practice, okay, after the end of each chapter, okay. I'm not going to give you that way, and I also am not going to give you the chapter list that match with my lecture note, okay. You just need to find it on your own, whether this lecture match with which chapters, okay. Because you are now MBA student, okay. So you just need to have the discipline to learn, and you just need to have the discipline, to have the eager to know more about content. So if you think that the textbook is not for you, then you can search YouTube or you can search Google to know more about the subject that we learn in the class. Okay, I don't care and I don't mind. Okay, you can also do that. But I encourage you to read the textbook. Okay, okay, that is what I want you to do. Because when I study, I also read textbook. Okay, and when I study, I read textbook, and I even read the textbook that is not the main text, and I even go to the library to practice on many kind of questions that I want to practice outside the content that the lecturer gives to you. Okay, so that's what I do, and then I was also successful in studying. I want you to have that kind of behavior as well. And if you look at my lecture note, you will see that there are very few content in it. Okay, most of it are diagram, image. Okay, because I try to push you to read the textbook. Okay, and I don't want to give a lot of content in the lecture note, because at the end, most students will just only read lecture note for the exam, and I don't think that is a good idea. Okay, so in my lecture note, I don't have many texts. Okay, so most of the things I will talk, okay, and you just have to take note on what I talk, okay. So please be prepared to learn this way, okay. And you may want to have the notebook or something that you can take a note, okay. And because sometimes you may not have enough space in this lecture note to take a note. Okay, that is what I want to tell you. And before we begin with the first lecture, I also want to tell you about the main content that we are going to learn in this subject. Okay, so in this subject, you are going to learn the basic concept of cash flow forecast. You are also going to learn about risk and return. Okay, the relationship between risk and return. You will also learn about valuation of bond and valuation of equity. Okay, and you will learn about ratio analysis. Okay. Those are the main content that we are going to learn in this class. And actually, this subject is going to be accompanied by another subject. Okay, which is a more advanced subject than here, and it is going to use a lot of content that we learn in this subject in that subject as well. Okay, so I think this subject is quite useful for you, and I think it's the first finance subject in the MBA program. Okay, and is I think the easiest content in terms of the finance field. Okay, and it is the requirement that everyone needs to know, even though you study MBA, because actually this kind of content has been taught in many programs. Okay, even though you apply for master in finance or master in corporate governance or master in accounting or any kind of master, you have to learn this subject. It's a compulsory for every master student. Okay, because it's the basis of being the financial managers. Okay. And by the way, this course teach you how to be a successful financial manager. Okay. This course is not planned to train you to be a successful entrepreneur. Okay. It's not about creating a new project. It's not about doing the feasibility. No. But the content that we learn here can be also applied to feasibility analysis or to other kind of things. Okay. So that will be all for the introduction of the course. And if you have any question, you can just come back to this course syllabus. Okay. And if you don't get any answer from this course syllabus, then you can send me an email and ask me some question. Okay. So the first lecture is going to be about the meaning of firms. It's going to be about the roles of financial managers. Okay. And before I start, can I ask you, how many of you that graduated from the BBA program? BBA. It is in Thai program or international program? Where? Thammasat. Okay. And back. Mahidol. Okay. So I have to say that most of the content here is something that you have learned before. Okay. I have to say. And I have to say that most of the time when I advise my BBA student, I normally say to BBA student that don't apply for MBA. Okay? Because most of the content that you learn at the BBA level is the same thing as MBA. Because MBA is the course that prepare for some students that don't have the background in business. Okay? But if you used to learn BBA, so I think maybe at that time when you learn, you don't understand anything because you are too young to understand. You don't have any experience to deliver. Then maybe when you come back, learn it again, then you will understand more. Maybe, okay. But what about other students? How many of you that graduated from engineering? Engineering, okay. And medicine, pharmaceutical. I don't know, maybe law, wow, okay, communication art or something, wow, okay, so you are going to have a really hard time to study this subject, okay. Now, first of all, law of financial managers and understanding about the financial market. Okay, the first topic that you have to learn is about the type of business organization. Okay, the type of business organization. Okay, in theory, we are going to have three main types of business organization, or we can say three main types of the firms. Okay, so we have sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship is the kind of organization that you do it on your own. Okay, you don't have partners. Okay, you use your own money. You may use the money from your relatives, from your parents, from your friends, but those friends are not your partners. They may borrow you money, but okay, you have the money to do the business. So this is the sole proprietorship. Okay, you do it on your own. Partnership is the kind of business that you have more than one person organizing the business. Okay, you may be the leader of that organization, or everyone have the same stakes. Okay, and then you form partnership. Okay, and the last one is called corporation. Corporation is the business organization that you have managers and you also have equity holder. That may not be the same person. Okay, so when you are a corporation, you are a new form of legal entity. Okay, but when you are sole proprietorship or partnership, sometimes when you do the business, you will do business under your own name. Okay, it may not be a new legal entity. Okay, so the first question I want to ask you, maybe you may need to brainstorm with me. What are the advantages and disadvantages of each kind of business organization? So let me ask first, what are the advantages of sole proprietorship? So the profit will go to you only. Okay, you take all the profit that you get, but at the same time you will also take all the loss. Okay, with you. Okay, and what next? Are there any other advantages?
You can decide all decision on your own.
Yeah, the decision making will be expected to be faster. Okay, because if you want to do anything, you just do it. Okay, you don't care anyone, except that that kind of activity needs to be legal. Okay, because at the end you have to care the society, you have to care the law. Okay, okay, and then what next? Advantage of sole proprietorship. What else?
It have a share of the responsibility.
Share responsibility.
To
What
the
do you mean?
partner. I think.
Because sole proprietorship, you don't have partner, so you don't have any kind of sharing
Okay.
with anyone. Okay. What are other advantages?
Make a decision on
What?
make a decision on
Make your
make a decision.
yeah, make the decision on your own, right? But that is your friend already answered. Are there any other advantage? Transaction is not complicated. What do you mean about transaction? Financial statement will be easy to record. I don't agree, because if you have a corporation and if you do some basic things, the financial statement is also easy to be recorded as well. Okay, if you just sell only one product, then this is quite easy. Are there any other advantages? So I think the third advantage would be you can keep a lot of information with you, and then you don't need to disclose what you do to other person. Okay, there is no legal form that asks you to disclose the information. Okay, you just keep everything on your own. You do not need to disclose any information. Then you can keep your secret. Okay, a lot of secret will be kept with you. That is why most of the business will start as sole proprietorship. For example, if you are going to have a prototype, you are going to have a new kind of product that you don't want anyone to copy, or you are going to create a new kind of business model. Okay, then you can keep the secret with you. Okay, that is another advantage. And I think the fourth advantages would be tax avoidance. Okay, and that would be the main advantage of sole proprietorship. Okay, you can avoid tax because you don't set a new legal entity. Everything is under your name, and it depends whether when you sell the product you issue the receipt or not, right? Okay, most of the time when you sell the product, you don't have the receipt, and then revenue department don't know whether you have the income. Okay, and then you can avoid a lot of tax. Okay, you don't even have to pay VAT. Okay, value added tax is something that most people try to avoid. Okay, when you sell product in Facebook or in Instagram, you don't have that. Okay, that is the things that you can get from sole proprietorship. But even though you avoid tax, at the end of the day, you will also have to prepare the correct financial statement for who? For what? For who? You have, yeah. No, not to revenue department. Because when you provide the financial statement to revenue department, you will provide it in the wrong, incorrect number. Okay. But at the end, you will also have to have the correct financial statement for bank. Okay. If you want to borrow some money from bank, you need to provide the correct number of your sales, the correct number of your expense. Otherwise, you cannot get money from bank. And therefore, nowadays, bank and the Bank of Thailand, commercial banks, and also revenue department try to promote that everyone need to have a single financial statement. Okay, even though in the past, each sole proprietorship may have a lot of statement, a lot of versions, okay, of financial statement. And partnership, okay, what about partnership? What about the advantage of the partnership?
Share responsibility.
You have share responsibilities, okay? If you incur any loss, that loss will be shared with other person. So you have someone to share the risk with you. And what about the second point? What is this? When you have partner, you get what?
Capital.
Yeah, you get more capital. Okay? Because if you work on your own, then maybe you can just only have 1 million baht or maybe 5 million baht or even 10 million baht at most. But if you form a partnership, sometimes you can do a business with a size of maybe 20 millions or 100 millions. Okay? And what else? Share knowledge. Yes, that's right. Okay, so when you have more people, then you have more person to discuss with you, to give you more feedback, to validate your idea. Okay, and also everyone cannot be an expert in many things, right? So sometimes you may be an expert in finance, the other person expert in marketing, the other person expert in IT. Then you form to do business. So this is something that partnership can provide you the advantage. Okay. And what about corporation? Corporation. What? Limited liabilities. Okay, that is the first advantage of corporation. What does it mean with the term limited liabilities?
Limit of your responsibility per share.
Limit of your responsibility to the amount of share that you invest. Okay? Because when you are sole proprietorship and partnership, if you incur a lot of loss and if you cannot pay back the debt, then you have to take care of those outstanding balance. Okay, sometimes bank may foreclose your house, your car, okay, in order to have the amount to pay back all the loan that you have in the bank. But in terms of corporation, when you have a bank loan, the bank loan is under the name of corporation. Okay, it's not under your own name. Therefore, bank can only ask the corporation to pay back the loan. Bank cannot ask your family to pay back the loan. Okay, so the greatest amount that you can lose from corporation is your own equity investment. Okay. And now, what next? Corporation. Mm. What else? Mm.
You can go public and get get ownership, like sell and buy shares.
Mm. Okay. Yes, that is also the advantage. You have the ability to trade your share. Okay, and then the cost of trading is very low. And then you can also cash out from your business. For example, now in Thailand, we are going to have a stock called Oso Sapa, right? OSP. And the main owner of Oso Sapa has already announced that they plan to sell the stock of around 3,000 million baht. Okay. Okay, that is the way to cash out your equity price. Okay, if you are not in the market, then you cannot earn this kind of wealth. Okay, you can freely trade your share. Okay, and then you can also get more capital. Okay, from IPO, because when you do IPO, you have to do IPO with the idea that you have some expansion plan or some project. And I still don't know what is the plan of Oso Sapa. Okay, it's very vague, you know. So this is some gray area in Thai market. Okay, and because most of the time when you have IPO, it needs to come with a new project. Okay, you should not have IPO just for the sake that you want to have the share in the market. That is not a moral way to do the IPO. Okay. So everyone should not buy Oso Sapa. Okay. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Okay. And what else? What is the advantage of corporation? What about the student from BBA? Can you maybe come up with some suggestion? Hmm? Hmm? So, when you are a corporation and then when you are in the market, what do you benefit from it? Hmm? You benefit from more capital, okay? And that capital is even wider than partnership, okay? Because you can get capital from retail investor, you can get capital from mutual fund. And when you have more source of capital, it means that your cost of capital will become lower. Okay, cost of capital will become lower. And when I say cost of capital, I have to say that every capital has got a cost. Okay. And when you are in the public, then your cost will be low. When you borrow money from bank may charge you a lower interest rate. When you have corporate bond, issue a corporate bond, or when you want to borrow from retail investor or from investor, then you may get a lower interest rate than borrow from bank. Okay, you may get a better condition. Okay, because when you borrow from a bank, you may have to have a collateral, right? You may have to have a lot of conditions that the bank asks you to provide. But when you issue bond, then the condition tend to be have a lower degree. Okay. And what else? That is going to be the advantage of corporation. Hmm? You have an unlimited life. Okay, unlimited life. When I say unlimited life, is that the corporation can last forever. Okay, and when we do evaluation of any kind of corporation, we will normally assume that that corporation will last forever. Okay, we don't assume that that corporation will last for 10 years or 5 years and then die. No. But when you are sole proprietorship or when you are a partnership, then you have unlimited life. It is limited because if you die or if your partner die, the business will die with you. Okay, that is why if your parent have some business, then your parent will expect from you to follow on with the business. Otherwise, business will die with the owner. Okay, but if you are a corporation, the product, the service will not die with you. Okay, it will last forever. Okay, for example, you can look at BMW, Ford, iPhone, okay, Microsoft, or any kind of company. That if the founder die, then the product is still in the market. Okay, and it can last 100 years, 200 years, or 300 years. Okay, but it's just that because nowadays the capital market exists for just 100 years or so. That is why we only see that the capital lasts for maybe 100 or 200 years. But in theory, it can last 1,000 years. Okay, if it is not collapsed or bankrupt. Okay. Then what next? When you have unlimited life, it means that you have a separation of ownership and management. Okay, the management will normally be hired by a professional manager, and when you are founder or when you are equity holder, you will be just an equity holder. Okay, you are completely separate from a company. Okay, you tend to hire a professional manager to operate and manage the firm. Okay. Okay, that is the point of corporation. Okay, those are the advantages of each kind of business. What about disadvantages? So proprietorship, we also know we have limited capital, we have limited knowledge, we also have limited life. Okay, business die with you. Okay, and you also have unlimited liability. Those are the disadvantages of sole proprietorship. And most of those disadvantages also apply to partnership as well. But partnership also have an additional disadvantage, which is some conflict. Okay, conflict between partners and some issue of contract. That when you have a contract with your partner, I'm not sure whether you have a formal contract or informal contract or just a wording contract. Okay, that can create a lot of dispute for partnership. Okay, what about corporation? What are the disadvantages of corporation? Slow in decision making because you have to come with a lot of line of management. Okay, from maybe a low staff to maybe a high ranking staff. Okay, and equity holder cannot decide on the business, right? Because you have already hired manager to do it. And what else? Disadvantage of corporation. Conflict of interest. That can be an issue for corporation. Because when you have corporation, you have a lot of people involved in a corporation. Okay, you have customer, you have supplier, you have shareholder, you have bondholder, you have banker, you have manager, you have many people or parties that participate in the corporation, and each person have its own interest. Okay, so the conflict of interest can maybe a lot of issue in corporation. Okay, and what else? You have to disclose a lot of information. Okay, in order to get funding or in order to get capital from retail investor, you need to disclose a lot of information to them. You cannot hide anything. Okay, your financial statement need to be audited by a reputable firm. Okay, you have to announce everything when you do some big change on the corporation. You have to announce to the SEC, or you have to announce to the market. Okay, and the market will announce to investor. Okay, you cannot protect any kind of information. Okay, and what else? You cannot avoid tax. Okay, tax avoidance will be very, very difficult. And if you are a corporation and then you avoid tax, then that is going to create a lot of legal issue. Okay, and a lot of reputation for firms. Okay, those are the main disadvantages of having the corporation. But at the end of the day, if you do many kind of activity that is legal, if you do anything that is transparent and you do not need to hide anything, then corporation is the goal of doing the business. Okay, because those kind of disadvantages will be outweighed by the advantage. Okay. Now, the separation of ownership and management for a corporation create issue, and then you talk about the conflict of interest, that when you have many parties in a corporation, that will be an issue, and that conflict of interest is normally called principal agent problems. Okay, we have principal agent problems. Okay, when we have principal agent problem, we have in many levels. This is the first level, the level between shareholder and management, or the level between debt holder and management, or the level between debt holder and shareholder, or between bank and shareholder, or between top manager and low ranking manager. Okay, so it can be at any level. Okay, principal and agent problems. And it has this kind of problem because the principal and agent is not the same person. Okay, they are not the same person. Then each person don't have the same goal, or even though you have the same goal, you may have different way of achieving the goals. Okay, for example, if your top manager asks you to achieve this KPI, but when you try to achieve the KPI, you may achieve it with some activity that is not preferred by the top managers. Okay, so this is one example of the principal agent problem. Okay, now what I want to ask you to discuss may be that if you compare between the firm that is largely owned by a family and the firm that is widely owned by many shareholders, which kind of firm that you want to invest? Largely owned by someone, or maybe distributed widely to many investors. What?
Situation.
What?
Maybe it depends on situation.
How?
Because if the company is managed by family,
Mm-hmm.
it's very stable in management,
Mm-hmm.
and then so no more worry on
Mm-hmm.
changing new owners or whatever. So you could give comfortable things, but when it comes to shareholders, there are so many conflicts
Mm-hmm.
that happen all the time. So you could be unstable.
Okay. So he said that if you have maybe one or two main shareholders, the management will be more stable, okay, because it is managed by only one group of person, and that group also have a lot of stake in the firm, okay, and if that group have a lot of stake in the firm, then you should expect them to do a good thing for everyone, right? Because if they do a bad thing, then it will impact them most, okay? And every fund may have this kind of logic, okay, when we talk about highly concentration firm or widely dispersed firm. But I have to say that investing in a firm with maybe a large shareholder may create a lot of concern for minority shareholders. Okay, even though you have a stable management team, even though you think that those management team will do a good thing for the firm, sometimes it may be wrong. Okay, why it's wrong? Because it doesn't mean that those kind of family will try to make the firm to become successful or to make the firm to have a very high share price. Okay, that is what you have to remind in your mind. Okay, it doesn't mean that the biggest shareholder will try to increase the share price or will do something that will make the share price to go up in the long term. It may not be that way. Why? Because when share price go up, can the family or can the largest shareholder get any kind of payoff from that share price? No, they cannot get. They cannot sell the share. Or if they sell the share, they earn a lot of wealth, but at the end they lose the shareholdership. So at the end of the day, most family holder will not be able to sell the share. They would like to keep the power in the firm. And then therefore, having the share price increase or go down is not the main issue to them. You know, they don't care about share price. And most of family owner don't care about share price because they know that they cannot earn anything from share price. They cannot sell share. And what they do, because they have power, they can set their own salary. Okay, they can set the expense for the firm. And most of the largely owned firm by some group will normally have low profit. Because they would like to take the earning of the firm out of the financial statement. Okay, they don't care about share price. They care that okay, each month they get a very high salary. Okay, or sometimes they may have a public firm that they largely own, but they set up a lot of firm around this firm. And when this firm buy raw material, they buy raw material from another firm. And then they get a lot of profit from another firm. Okay, because they have a lot of power, they can do anything to them. And there are a lot of ways to get the benefit from being in the main shareholder of the public firm. Okay, so investing in the highly concentrated firm is not a good idea. I have to say, even though you think they have a lot of stake, you have maybe someone that take responsibility for the whole firm. No, it's not like this. For example, you look at maybe in Thailand you have Thanin Chiravanont, you have Jalern. Will you think that they do for shareholder? No. Look at CPF. They can buy raw material from subsidiary and then they get the profit from subsidiary. Look at True. Okay, True don't even have profit at all, but True can last more than 10 years with a lot of debt. You know what? So they earn something from around the firm. So if you find a firm that is very successful, and if you find a firm with a lot of profit and a lot of high growth potential, and that firm are widely dispersed, that is the firm that you have to invest in. Because it means that that kind of firm can find some mechanism to make the manager to work for the best of the firm. Okay? That kind of firm have got some kind of mechanism that maintain or make sure that manager will do the best for the long term. Okay, so you may look at Apple, you may look at Microsoft, you may look at Ford, you may look at any kind of company around the world that when they are successful, CEO is not the main shareholder, right? CEO is just a minority shareholder. CEO is the professional manager. But you come with a lot of mechanism to control them, to make sure that those managers work for shareholders. Okay? And then that way, you normally be well paid off. Okay? And your right of minority shareholder will be protected. I have to say. Then you just need to find that kind of firm. But you have a very, very few firms in Thailand that meet that kind of standard. Okay? Because most of the big firms in Thailand are still largely owned by a family members, and I think that also applies in Korea, in Taiwan, in China. Okay? But I have to say that if the firm become bigger, then the characteristics of shareholder will become more widely dispersed, and the firm need to be more professional managed. Okay? And I have to say that in Thailand we have advanced, okay, AIS, we have SCC, Siam Cement Group, we have SCB, okay, we have K-Bank, we have maybe, I cannot think of any kind of firm that have the widely dispersed shareholder, and the manager can also be make sure that they do for the best interest of shareholder. Okay. That's something you need to bear in mind. Now, what about limited liability? When you have the advantage of getting the limited liability, okay, you also create another kind of principal agent problem. Okay, and this is the problem between equity holder and debt holder. Okay, limited liability creates the problem between shareholder and debt holder, because when the firm is in financial distress, okay, with loss of debt, then what happened to stock price when the firm is in financial distress? Stock price go down a lot. Okay, stock price may used to be at more than 100 baht per share, but now stock price is at 1 stam per share. Okay, when you are in financial distress, stock price drop a lot. Okay, when stock price drop a lot, it means that the value of the shareholder become very, very small. And when it become very, very small, it means that shareholder has already lose a lot of money so far. So there is nothing to lose more. Okay? So what shareholder normally want to do is to do some high risk, high return project. Okay? They will normally do high risk, high return project. Because there is nothing to lose more. Because share price has really dropped a lot. And if we do high risk, high return project, and if that project is successful, then what happens? Share price go up a lot. But if that project is not successful, what happens? Share price just drop to zero. That's all. Okay. But when that project is not successful, it hurt a lot to debt holder, to banker, because debt holder and banker may not have any kind of asset left for them to get hold of it. Okay, after the firm collapse. So this is the moral hazard behavior that shareholder will do. Oh, it is the moral hazard because this is the behavior that is not a good way of being moral. Okay, moral hazard. Okay, that is something come with the limited liability. Okay. Now, and another thing that you need to know is that when you are equity shareholder, then you have the residual cash flow, right? Okay, it's the right to earn the cash flow in the form of residual. Residual means that that cash flow has already been deducted with all expense, with all the debt, with all the other kind of cash outflow that you need to do. Then you just got the residual. Okay, and the residual can be positive or negative. Okay, if the residual is negative, it means that you it eat the shareholder wealth. Okay, because the value of the equity holder will become smaller when you have the loss on the operation. Okay, for example, look at Nok Air. Okay, Nok Air in Thailand. It incur a lot of loss many years, and when it incur a lot of loss, then the value of shareholder will become smaller until it becomes negative. And when it becomes negative, then the firm need to ask for some issue new share for shareholder, okay, in order to be able to trade in the market. And Nok Air is still in trouble, okay, and Nok Air has already changed hands, okay, to Chulalongkorn family, okay, but I'm not sure whether it's going to be successful or not, because if you look at Thawichat Chulalongkorn, do you know him? Thawichat Chulalongkorn is someone that when they get money from Thai Summit, they invest that money on a debt firm. Okay. And every firm that they invest is some kind of the firm that in financial distress. And I also don't understand why he invested like that. Okay, but he is a wealthy person in Thailand. Okay, but most of the investment lose a lot. Okay, that's true. You can look at many firms that Thawichat Chulalongkorn invest. Okay. Now, before we have a break, okay, we are going to have a break at 7:30. Okay, before we have it, then let's have a look at the decision making if you are a manager in a firm. Okay, we have to say that we are going to have the two-stage procedure, okay, in making the decision. And that two-stage procedure is something that you have to make sure that this will be compatible with the main mission or vision of the firm. Okay, the first one is the strategic direction decision. It's the decision to decide on which direction you are going to go, and that direction need to be strategic direction. It's the direction with some strategy in your mind. That okay, we want to go that kind of direction. Okay, so in terms of the project, we can say that this is to choose an appropriate set. Okay, an appropriate set. I think you used to learn about set in secondary school. Okay, it's the set. Set is something that is the big framework. Okay, it's the big circle that cover many kind of small projects in that circle. Okay, you have set. And the way that you choose the direction for the firm is something that you need some knowledge about game theory or economic also. And that kind of knowledge is something that not learned in this class. Okay, but you need to use that kind of knowledge in order to decide on the strategic direction decision. But after you decide on strategic direction decision, now it's time for financial manager to decide on the best project in a set, okay, on the best project in a set, and then that is called capital budgeting decision. Capital budgeting decision. And when you are going to choose the best project, you will use the concept of NPV, risk, expected return, and so on. And that is something that you are going to learn in this class and also in another class.
มีต้องลดความ
Okay.
ฝั่ง
Now, in order to have it, then the strategic direction represented by this circle. Okay, and this circle can be many kind of circle. Okay, it can be 3 circles, 4 circles, or 5 circles, depending on the direction that you would like to create. Okay. And then you may come up with some questions that what are the directions that you want to be. For example, if you want to be a phone maker, smartphone maker, you may have to decide whether to have a smartphone that is going to be a low cost smartphone, or you want to be a high-end smartphone, or maybe you want to be something in between, I'm not sure, or you want to sell many products, including smartphone, smartwatch, and so on. That is the direction that I refer to. Okay, you have to set what is the position of your firm's product. What is the market that you are going to be? Okay, that is the strategic direction. And when you are in that direction, you are not going to change it into other direction. For example, Apple will not going to build a low-cost firm. Okay, because that is not the strategic direction of Apple. Okay, Dell is not going to build a computer like maybe MacBook. Okay, because that kind of market is not the market that Dell focus on. Okay, so this is some kind of the direction that I would like to refer to. And then after you choose the direction that you want to be in, then in that direction there are many projects that you can decide. Okay, what it means by the term project. For example, if you want to sell the phone with a very cheap price, then you have to decide what are the suppliers that you are going to get. What are the where are the players that you are going to open your factory? Okay, what are the kind of maybe human resource that you are going to hire in your firm? That is the project that you have to decide. Okay, you have to decide whether to have the factory in Pattaya or in Rayong or in Chiang Mai or in Kolat. I don't know. Okay, you have to decide what are the quality of the machine that you are going to use in the factory, whether you are going to use a Chinese machine or you are going to use Taiwanese machine, Korean machine or European machine. I don't know. Okay, it depends on your direction. But when you choose direction, then you have a lot of projects you can decide. Okay, that is what I want to refer to project. Okay. And now, what I want to ask you is that when you choose the direction, why do you think that Apple would like to be in the high-end market? Why Apple doesn't want to be in the low-end market? How the direction come from? Management? What do you mean management? Manager make the decision? No. The company resource? Yes, that is correct. Okay? When you choose the strategic direction decision, it depends on the resource that the company have. Okay? You have to look back at your company and ask, what are your crucial asset? Crucial asset. Crucial asset is the asset that you think you have and no one cannot have it, or it is difficult to have it. Okay, maybe Apple thinks that okay, you have a very good R&D team, you have a very high-end, maybe high-end machinery that you can use to build the product. Okay, that is why manager decide to be in the high-end market. Manager cannot decide to be in any market, but when you look at the result is not support that market. It's still big. Okay, so that is the reason why Apple cannot go to the low-end markets. When Apple decide not to go to the low-end market, it doesn't mean that Apple doesn't want to maybe kill the image of the brand. No, it's not that way. It's not that kind of marketing idea. But when Apple decide not to be in the low-end market, is because if Apple have to be in low-end market, Apple will have to start the whole new thing again. Apple will have to hire a new kind of labor workforce. Apple will have to use a new kind of machinery in the factory. Apple will have to find a new supplier. You have to find the whole new thing again. That is completely a new market. You know what? Completely a new kind of fixed asset. That is the main reason. It's not about marketing. It's not about the image. It's about your resource. Okay? So when you decide about your strategic direction, you have to ask yourself, what are your crucial assets? Okay? Or when you would like to decide to maybe start up your own business, you have to ask yourself, what are your crucial assets? Okay? Or if you would like to open a coffee shop, then you have to ask yourself, what are your crucial assets? Whether you have a very good supplier of coffee bean, or whether you have a very high-end coffee machine in Thailand, or whether you can get coffee bean that is the most famous in the world, I'm not sure. But you need to ask yourself, what are your crucial assets before you can decide the direction of your firm. Okay? And after you have the direction of your firm, when you decide on the project, you will look the firm, that the firm will have a lot of contract. Okay? You will change the view to the firm. When you look at the firm as a resource, that is the case when you want to decide on direction. But when you look at the firm as a lot of contract, it means you decide on the project. When I talk about contract, it means that when you have a firm, you have contract with supplier, you have contract with customer, you have contract with employee, you have contract with society, you have contract with the government, you have contract with anyone around the firm. And when you decide on the project, you need to choose the project that maximize the value of all those parties. Okay? And those related parties to the firm are normally called stakeholder. Okay? That is why when we talk about the main goal of the firm, the goal is to maximize the value of stakeholder, not shareholder. Okay? You have to maximize the value of all the stakeholders. That is the way to choose that, okay, I want to open a factory in Rayong, because when I open the factory in Rayong, I can maximize the value of shareholder. And when I open the factory in Rayong, I are also going to make the condition, the environment to be in a safety standard, so that I can maximize the value of my employee. I have to guarantee to my customer that when I sell the product, I am going to give warranty to them. I am not going to cheat them. Then that is the contract you have with the customer. That is the way you choose the project in the direction. Okay. And nowadays, I think everyone understand that if you want your firm to be successful, you need to maximize the value of stakeholder. And you cannot set your profit as the main target. Okay? When you start up your own business, don't set sales or profit as your main target, because if you set sale or if you set profit, it means you will do anything to maximize it, even though something may not be moral. Okay, but if you set your goal to maximize the wealth or to maximize the value of your customer, to maximize the value of your society, then that is the way to do business. Because when society get value, when customer get value, customer will end up buying product from you anyway, because they get the value more than the price they pay for you. Okay, and then that is how you get profit. Okay, so you have to change your mind to be a person that do something for the society. And if you can fill the gap in the society, then you will be a very, very rich guy in the world. Okay, so the rich, the level of wealth is something that is not the main goal, but it just happen to come when you serve society, when you successful. Okay, that is the way that you need to have this kind of mindset. So this is what I summarize here. Okay, when you look at the firm, you have two views: resource-based view or nexus of contract. Okay, and this will help you in making the investment, the decision in the firm. Okay. And then I think we should have a break now, okay, before we begin with the remaining contents. So we are going to have around 15 minutes break, okay? And we are going to start around 7:40.
เซนโซเฟีย
Okay,
มาใหม่ไม่คอย
around that 7:40 or 7:45.
มีบอลลูน ไม่เข้าใจว่าทำไมบอลลูนมันกลายเป็นจุดเด่นของตุรกีได้มันดูไม่ค่อยเกี่ยวที่สุดแล้วแต่แบบโอเคอันอื่นโอเคสุเหร่าสีน้ำเงินแทงเกียโซเฟีย
Capital